Hey guys, so now that we've finished our preliminary research, it's time to, gasp, start writing our ritual. You don't have to start here, but the first step I usually do is deciding how I'm going to ground myself before the ritual. Some people start different places. They'll start with the evocation of the god and goddess or the quarter calls or things like that that actually start the ritual in their mind. But the way I see it, the grounding before the ritual is when you're really starting to become in the ritual mindset. So it seems like the best place to start because that is going to influence your mindset throughout the ritual. And if your grounding doesn't really fit with what you're doing or it isn't effective for you, it's going to throw your ritual off. What I would suggest is taking a day or 2 or 3 to try some different groundings if you haven't tried several before. After doing that, I found that the middle pillar exercise works best for me. And if you're not familiar with that, it's fairly common. If you Google it, you'll probably find some variations on it. I first read about it in True Magic by Amber Kay. It's on page 97. If you Google it, you might find the original, which has Hebrew names for the chakras. I personally have created a variation with Celtic gods that I find quite effective for me. You could use gods from your own pantheon. Her variation has goddesses. It has Isis for the crown, Hecate for the third eye, Aradia, etc. So, yeah. You can pretty much add anything for the chakras. Just try to do some research on the chakras and see the energies associated with them if you have not previously worked with the chakras, and then choose deities that match those energies. It might be hard if you have not done a lot of research on certain deities or found a pantheon or whatever, but it's what I find effective. There are various other means of grounding. A lot of people do the simple stand firm, imagine yourself as a tree, draw energy up through your roots, have it circle around your body, etc. If you search for grounding, you're gonna get confused if you search like online, because people get confused with grounding. Grounding is what you do before a ritual to center yourself, and it's grounding and centering, to center yourself before the ritual, to feel the energy of the earth and everything around you and prepare yourself mentally and physically for ritual. After you've prepared yourself physically and mentally through other means usually. Earthing is what you do after the ritual. You earth the excess energy. We're going to get to that way later, but if you search for grounding online, you're probably going to get guided visualizations, which to an extent will work as grounding before the ritual. I personally don't do it because guided visualizations make me feel too relaxed before ritual. I want to feel energized and ready to do magical workings. If you find through your work with these groundings that guided visualizations work for you, go ahead. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. I know I tried a bunch of these like a few years ago, and I'll continue to use new ones every now and then for like smaller workings, not like my huge Espit and Sabbat rituals, but just try out a bunch and see which work for you. So after you ground, some people will skip this step, but I personally, and I know some other people, will say a blessing before purifying the space and casting the circle and all that. It's not a usual step in ritual, but some people prefer it. I personally will say a little blessing, a little prayer to bride. It's fairly common. I forgot the name of it right now, the name of the text. I'm having a little brain fart, and the book that it's in was borrowed by someone. So sorry, if you are really interested in that one and you're Irish Celtic or Celtic in general and you have an interest in that one, send me a message and I might be able to figure it out for you later. Some people will say a blessing to their patron or matron deity. Some people will just say an overall blessing to any certain deity or just the overall life force, the divine energy, to protect them in ritual, to enhance their energy, etc. It's really not required. But the step after you figure out your grounding and you write it or find one that works for you. That's not essential to write. The grounding, by the way. The grounding is not essential to write because I mean, you can write it, you can tailor it to the working you're doing, you can tailor it to what works for you, but if you find something that really works for you in a book, you don't really need to change it a lot. Just trial and error there. Since you're working literally with your own energy and that of the earth and making it your own, it's kind of already personal, in my opinion. So don't feel pressure to write that one if you don't really need to. The blessing you don't need to write either if there's one that you found, a historical blessing or something like that that works for you. Use that. If you can't find something, you're probably going to have to write some sort of blessing to whichever god or goddess that you want if you really are set on having a blessing in your ritual. So that's really step 4. It's fairly simplistic because you don't really have to write anything if you don't want to in this step. And some people will skip the blessing. The grounding is essential. It is a major step in the ritual that you're going to perform. If you don't ground before the ritual, you're probably not going to be in the right mindset and you're going to feel like everything's a little off. So don't forget the grounding. Tomorrow we're going pagan shopping for my birthday. My birthday's on Friday. So I can't promise I'm going to make videos tomorrow or this weekend. I might try to make one on my birthday just because we're not really doing anything until we go out to dinner or something. And then graduation Saturday, and then Mother's Day Sunday. So Monday might be my next video. So I guess I'll see you guys on Monday or Friday.